I'm Josh Quinlog, and my podcast today is on the multi-institutional study of leadership. So what is the multi-institutional study of leadership? Well, on their website, they define it as an international research program focused on understanding the influences of higher education in shaping socially responsible leadership capacity and other leadership-related outcomes. It was designed essentially as a way for institutions to better understand the development of leadership skills across students on their campuses, and to allow them to functionally improve the programs and activities offered to help develop those skills. You can learn a lot on their website. They have a really great website at leadershipstudy.net that outlines the purpose of their study and how it can be used. And we'll talk a little bit about that today. So first, a bit of the history. The MSL started in 2006 with 52 schools and over 60,000 participating students. They then ran it a second time in 2009 and annually thereafter until 2012. At that point, they decided that they would go into a 3-year cycle and only offer it every 3 years. So they offered it again in 2015 and will do so the next time in 2018, and they're currently signing up schools to participate in that round. At this point, over 350 institutions have participated, including 610,000 students. The conceptual framework that they use in developing this survey is based on Aston's IEO model, in which outcomes are affected by inputs as well as the environment. The graphic below is one from their website where they kind of visually show how they're using Aston's IEO model as the conceptual framework for this, whereby those input variables affect the environment, and the environment itself affects the outcome measures that they're looking at. They also use a theoretical framework which is based on the social change model of leadership development, and that has been described as a purposeful, collaborative, values-based approach that results in positive social change. And so they developed this as the initial theoretical framework for their study. Since then, they've developed some other theoretical frameworks that they've drawn into their study. So they now use a wider array, including contemporary leadership theory, social psychology and human development, critical and justice-based perspectives. And because of the wide variety of frameworks that they brought in, they now have a very large survey instrument that generates over 400 items and scales looking at outcomes of leadership capacity, leadership efficacy, leadership behaviors, higher order cognitive abilities, developmental outcomes, and sense of belonging. Obviously, we don't have enough time here to go into all of the specific questions and the detailed information that they have that they're collecting on the survey, but it is really designed to get at a wide number of areas and issues that schools may want to look at themselves and that researchers may want to study. So the MSL is conducted by an external independent research group. It's done in conjunction with the institutions, and it's sent out by email to students, and they communicate with the students in a variety of ways as they work with the schools. Once that's all done and the results have been collected, each school gets a final report that allows them to help benchmark student learning outcomes against peer institution. And that report includes statistical analyses of the relationships between student characteristics, collegiate experiences, and educational outcomes. So that's really a wealth of information for the individual institution to look at, figure out where they're at compared to where they used to be, where they're at compared to their peers, and to be able to use the data in ways that are very effective. They also have an MSL representative call each institution to debrief and discuss the results of their particular study, so that each institution really understands what the results mean and how they might be able to apply them, areas in which they're doing well, areas in which they may need some improvement. So putting that data in practice, making those improvements, how does that work? Well, the MSL is designed in a way to help institutions really apply the data. They provide internal benchmarking, external benchmarking, and opportunities for collaboration to share best practices. The results of the MSL have been used at various institutions at the department level, the programmatic level, and the institutional level to affect positive change in the leadership development of students. So by learning from the best practices of peer institutions, we have an opportunity to make significant progress in developing stronger leadership development programs. In addition to applying the data and sharing those practices across campuses, the MSL provides a neat opportunity to complete the survey again in 3 years. So as they offer this every 3 years, individual schools, by using that internal benchmarking from a previous iteration of the survey, can then look at progress. How are things changing on their campus? Is leadership development getting better? Are some of the programs that they're putting into place affecting these outcomes the way they want them to? And look at a variety of things along those lines. The MSL website, and again, this is a really great resource about their information. They maintain a lengthy list of research publications based on the data collected through their surveys. The first area is in national reports that the MSL puts together themselves, and this includes the results that they find from the tens of thousands of students from a variety of institutions that are taking it at each iteration. And those national reports are really interesting to look at to see the state of leadership development on college campuses. And so that's a really great place to start. They also maintain a list of a variety of research articles across multiple disciplines in higher education, as well as dozens of theses and dissertations which utilize the MSL results. And there's quite a bit of stuff in there that I found really kind of fascinating, and looking at the ways in which they're kind of slicing and dicing the data to look at leadership. So how can you use the MSL on your campus? How can you apply the knowledge that has been gained through the MSL? The first question I think to ask is your campus participating in the MSL already? And if so, how are the results being used? Not all institutions do this, obviously. About 350 have participated, but there are some big name schools on there, and if you happen to have that on your campus, to be able to look at the results and see how they're being used is really going to be invaluable for understanding leadership on your campus. The other thing is the research publications. As I mentioned, the MSL website has a lot of great research publications that have a wide variety of information that you can glean to help develop better leadership programs and to assess how leadership is going on your campus. It's really a great leadership assessment tool. I picked out a few different journal articles to highlight for this podcast, looking at a variety of different things like race and gender and how that affects the leadership capacity, socially responsible leadership and how leadership programs influence that, and then some of the kind of larger things. That last study, predicting the individual value of social change model of leadership development, kind of looks at it as a large framework. So those are all good resources, and again, their website has a wide variety of other great resources that you can use to study and learn and assess leadership on your campus. This last page has a list of all the references, including those 3 from the previous page that I cited and used throughout this podcast. If you have any questions, please let me know.